All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Monday, July 24th Park and Recreation Commission meeting. We do have a full quorum. Now, mind you, we do have two commissioners that are participating via Zoom. But we do have a quorum and we're just going to go through the meeting like we do a regular meeting as if everybody were here. So, make sense? Perfect.
Yes.
All right, open forum public comments. I don't see any here, and we have none in the.
I have a comment.
Okay, go right ahead.
So there were people here from the, what do they call it? The golf.
Frisbee,
I know that I use that term anymore, so that's why
it's frisbee golf.
I couldn't think of that.
Yeah.
Disc golf.
That's it, disc golf. They came for the last meeting
Mhm.
and they didn't know it was canceled. And they wanted to make a presentation, and I think we got some information.
Sure.
And, I was invited to play with them, but I haven't had time yet.
Okay. We can definitely, what we can do is we can reach out to them and put them on the agenda for next time, because I know that was kind of a, canceling at the last minute, but we can definitely add them to a future agenda. Because I think we might even have an update by then from our side, but we will definitely put them on the next 1 or 2 meetings that we have coming
That
up.
would be good.
Perfect. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Peter?
Thank you.
Fantastic. The second thing that we have on the agenda was for the pickleball group for Lisa, but that was just more of like we communicated via email and she's not going to be here tonight. So it was just on the agenda more as a placeholder, but everyone is good. With her not being here tonight, she agreed to that. Chairs update. I know it's been a while since we've all met, but I'll just kind of do what I would normally do. Any updates that come up through the director's report or discussion items that pertain to an update, we will definitely do that. Now we will go to the director's report. Actually, even before we can do that, I want to commend the staff, the assistant director and the director for a situation that happened last week here at the pool, where we had an incident where a child that was on the slide hit his head on the bar, had to go to the hospital. From what I talked to Stacy and from what I heard from even the email correspondence is that the staff handled it as professionally as they could. So I want to commend the staff for what they did, but I again also have to commend the assistant director and the director because you're the ones that give them the training how to do this. So just to hear, the child is okay. But just to hear the procedure of how everything went through, I want to commend and definitely give a applaud to everyone that helped out and made the situation that could be sometimes very stressful, very smooth in the end. So thank you for what you guys did.
Yes, you did a good job. Yes, he is doing very well. His biggest concern was Hannah was with him in the ambulance and he couldn't see out the back windows. He was upset because he thought the fire truck, he couldn't see the fire truck. And when I finally got to the ER, he asked when he could come back to the pool and without slides.
Love it.
How old is this? 6.
Well, thank you for handling it both of you, and please extend that to the staff.
Thank you. So I'll go through, my apologies for the report getting to you significantly later than normal. It's been a crazy few weeks at the just a few updates over the programs. Numbers are good. Moving forward with our vendor stuff, our camps are really jumping up, and that's on the second page, I believe. You can see from week 1, how numbers have started to steadily climb throughout. The one that's not doing too great is the Rocketeers, and that's the ages 3 to 5 kids. That's our half-day program. My guess is more and more kids are in daycare even throughout the summer. I know from experience that you still have to pay throughout the summer, so you might as well send your kid. Everything else is doing pretty good.
Good.
Any questions on our campers?
No.
No, I just,
Go
I
ahead.
can't figure out how to raise my hand, sorry. I just wanted to commend the staff and director and assistant director. I came by the pool one day last week, and it was the night, I think it was the first family fun night. where there was like a theme, the shark theme, and I thought it was really attractive and it did really well. And I heard that people had a lot of fun, and so I just wanted to give a quick shout out.
Great.
Yeah, we've been having family fun, we call them nights, but they start at 1:15, so we should probably update that. Every Thursday, so the first week was Shark Week, last week was the Luau Week, and this week coming up is Pirate Week. And then Olympics, and then the last week is the Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah, it looked
so we have
really
a-
great. Yeah, really
Staff
good.
plan all the activities, they plan the games, and then we have our new social media intern. Who puts together flyers and posts them on our Facebook page. You guys should check them out, they're pretty good. There's even, if you on our Instagram page, there's a reel of our staff training.
Thought that today, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really great. I mean, if my kids were still of that age, and I was bringing them to the pool, I'd be really excited for them. It was a really good job.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Season passes, court badges, as you can see, we're at that point where there's a small tick.
Mhm.
When we hit the fall again, there's usually another bump up. Because people are using them more. Pool passes, we're starting to level off for those, and actually. One of the residents, a couple of the residents have talked to me, and we can talk about this later in policies,
Mhm.
about doing a. What's the word? Prorated membership. For the rest of the season,
Okay,
so we can talk about that in policy.
sure.
But a few people have come to me and asked that.
Okay, I mean, we haven't looked at that in the past just because the season itself is so short, yeah, cool.
Yep.
But, because we became considerate.
So I figured we just talk about that in the policy.
Sure.
Non-residents haven't changed much at all, that's fairly typical. But we have, I think, more than we have in last year's. At the end of the season, in the school report, you'll get like what we had last year versus this year, so you can compare apples to apples, but this is just for this.
Mr. Chairman, of course, do you have any sense of how we're doing with tennis badges versus last year? I know we didn't have many pickleball badges last year, but it was still kind of up.
We have exceeded our tennis badges from last year significantly.
Oh, wow.
We had a very low number last year. It wasn't we weren't able to. Watch the courts very much. They just kind of.
Played.
Existed and people played, and our numbers are pretty low this year. They're significant.
And do we have a good sense that pickleball people are buying passes?
Yep.
Because the numbers we were hearing were much bigger than 248,
Right.
right? So we were hearing numbers of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Well,
actually surprised at the number of people that have purchased passes. Like this number is significant.
Yeah.
For us. I don't think, since I've been here, we haven't hit this many badges.
Interesting.
Now, that being said, I was here in COVID,
Mhm.
You're right, right.
so my numbers are very skewed.
And I don't know how much we push people. They were just happy if people could get out and play tennis. Right?
Yep.
We were.
Yep.
Kind of thinking about the greater good at that point.
Exactly.
Can I just bring up something about the courts? There's somebody, I don't know, the courts, somebody's gonna hurt themselves. I mean, I just go to Mills. But the courts are like sandy and dirty and
Specific ones, all of them?
it's
Well,
getting,
Mills.
it's getting to all of them. I don't know if it's because of the rain or, I don't really know.
I can have the park ranger go down there and take a look and see if we need to, like, use the leaf blower and get some of the sand off. I haven't had any feedback about that, but it's good to know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone sweep those? Do the courts get swept? No.
Oof.
They
Okay.
don't typically need it from the sand, but we have had enough rain where it puddles on the outside of the court, so I wouldn't be surprised.
and then on the edge. The edge is like, it's almost a garden there.
Yes, that I have gotten word,
Weeds and.
No, just like a lot of dirt. I mean, it's not like
Okay.
you go over there, just when you have to go into the corner or
Mhm.
around the back.
yeah,
And it's
that
probably
is
because of the rain.
that is happening at all of our courts because of
Yeah.
the rain, yeah, definitely.
And I know that's one thing that when we redo courts is that we're gonna work into a maintenance plan to keep up on the upkeep and certain things like that, because I know we always say. oh, we just have Eddie's crew go down or have, Woo go down. We need to get on a maintenance program for all of our facilities and things that we sink a good amount of money into. You want to get the long lasting results out of it. You just don't want to do something.
More
and-
proactive. and-
Exactly. So, perfect. Of
Next more questions.
course.
On the summer vendor programs and camps where we don't have any attendees like the Shark Tank Creative Lab. Does it not cost us anything then? Do we not pay them anything? We don't pay vendors.
Correct, so, and we're not the only town that signs up for those programs, so those programs are in their Wellesley building, so. They advertise through a bunch of different towns, so if we don't get anybody, they still run their programs, if we get one kid, then they just bill us for one kid. So it doesn't affect us too much.
And what is the program called? Kids
Kids Night Out?
Kids Night Out, oh, thank you. Should know that, okay, thank you. You did know that.
That will show up too, that Kids Night Out, it's only at 8 right now, but it will.
It will,
Yes.
A lot of latecomers that come at the end.
Yeah.
Got it.
We call it Kids Night Out, but if you think about the cost and parents dropping your kids out in 3.5 hours, it's more of a parent's night.
But it's for the kids.
It looks like I didn't update the field and facilities, but we are working on keeping as many fields as we can. The grass fields are closed. We have very few that are being used. The turfs are being used. In the next couple of weeks, we have a bunch of camps. We have the Bay State football camp and we have some soccer camps that will be using more of the fields at DeFazio. Bay State actually uses all of them plus Memorial. And then we've had a field hockey camp the last week and this week, but those are on the turf. So our turfs are getting used, but not so much our grass fields. We try to rest those as much as we can.
And I do have to say, not to go on that, like I know that there are certain towns that have droughts and you look at the fields and it looks like scorched dirt. That I do have to commend our park and forestry department of just, I know people get frustrated, but when they see the results out of it our fields look great. You drive through all the fields, there's nothing that looks horrible. You gotta take them offline, because if you keep on using them all day, every day throughout the seasons, you're not gonna get multiple seasons out of it. So I think it's great, and I mean, they look great. Dina.
You're muted.
Okay. What, I'm just curious, what is going on the baseball fields over by the turfs? Are they resurfaced, like redoing grass?
No, it's coming up next. I'll explain what's happening.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Okay,
So Cattle Project with Cloud Field is the first one. The construction will begin this week. They've already put down the erosion control and the barriers around the conservation land. We are, I think Monday, they're working on with engineering to start putting an actual shovel in the ground.
Okay.
And we have bi-weekly right now, or soon to be weekly, construction meetings on site, so updates will be moving forward. What Dina is talking about is on the Cloud Fields, and we have a shout out that we're gonna get ready to post for Facebook. That field is being completely ripped up.
Mhm.
So Eddie's team has gone in and taking the sod in rolls and bringing it over to High Rock and Newman and Cricket to help some of our gold months. So they're redistributing the good sod that's in the outfield. I got some great pictures and that will post, we'll get a post up that. I think Amy Nelson will also post about it, but we are literally recycling the grass.
What a great idea.
Yeah, and it looked good. It was pretty cool. So that's what you're seeing in is the strips.
On McLeod, I know we talked about this, and I know a construction schedule was never to the T of it's exactly when it's gonna be done. But if we can get someone of a ballpark construction schedule of like, hey, by this time you should see this, or this is the planned construction of how we're just gonna do this, because I know I would love to know, and I know there are probably some of the user groups that would love to see just at least what it looks like on paper and what it's eventually gonna come out to. look like.
I did ask them for one on Friday.
Right,
I haven't seen it yet, but I will follow up.
okay, perfect.
Dina has a question.
just really quickly, I did notice today too, some surveyors there setting up today, Chris. At McLeod.
Especially there's gonna be a whole slew of things coming over the next few weeks.
Okay,
Surveyors, construction, implement some destruction to, make that feeling better.
Up next is Claxton Fields. I emailed over this afternoon the cost estimates. The first estimate is from 7/11/22. The
Okay,
second estimate is from 7/21/23. There's a significant difference.
Mhm.
I will tell you, we got the numbers Friday,
Mhm.
we met today.
Huge
The
Yes.
town management and finance department have not had an opportunity to look at this, so,
Okay,
this is just a heads up. We're not really sure where we're going with this, but I just wanted you guys to see, so looking through it, there's a couple of big numbers, one is the. Extension of the barrier is moving on more of the field than originally thought, irrigation system. Water tie-in, the lighting went up,
Mhm.
and then everything else is. Because it's been a year,
Right,
and there's a lot more contingency built into the project, so, like I said, town management has not been able to review this yet. We had a preliminary meeting today to go over the exact details, but. That's all the information I have, right now.
So 1,000,001 from last year.
Yes.
And if I were to put them side by side, Stacy, they, do. I wouldn't have to do that. Those would be the ones you just mentioned, other.
Those are the big ticket ones, the ones I mentioned. Most of them are, so the geothermal is in the site prep and earthwork. And then the new site improvements. You'll see the sports lighting, the irrigation system. And the water connection. The water connection right now is 40,000, that's actually gonna drop. Because of the water sewer project,
oh, you're right, okay,
we already ran a line. They'll still have to connect to the line to connect to the irrigation, but it's probably gonna, I have no number, it will be less.
I remember when they were pitching the idea, or they had mentioned something like that, so.
The
So
phase
that
out-
site preparation double,
yes,
right?
Do we think this is gonna hold up the CPC meeting this fall, or for the town meeting? With the new-
because we're off cycle,
Mhm.
so we had promised. To CPC, we would not ask them for more than 1,000,000. The rest of it is gonna go to the town, and that's why the town needs to review it, because the number they were financing last year is significantly different than this year, so it doesn't change CPC.
Okay, CPC still stays.
But that's why
We change this project.
it could.
Okay,
All right.
Spacio Playground, we didn't receive any bids for the design. Interesting enough.
is that common?
Nope. What I think is happening is they really get to pick and choose.
Okay,
And it's summer and who knows? We did regroup internally, and so now the town has some pre-qualified. Engineer firms or things like that, so now we're sending it out to them to see if any of them are. Qualified to do this project, so we're just waiting to hear back, and I'm doing some research on some of the projects. That they have online at playgrounds, reaching out to those towns to see, just to make sure that we have. Playground people that can do this.
And those pre-qualified vendors, are there dollar limits as to what we can spend with them, or it's not?
No, but for this particular project, it's up to 35,000, so it can't go more than that. For the tennis courts, we met last week at the courts with 2 members of the working group, went over the broad details about like lighting and fencing and number of courts and, everything from shade to walkways to ADA. Activities House will now be working on some preliminary designs and numbers over the next few weeks.
So still no sense of how many courts we can get out there.
We are asking them to design, see if we can design 8. That doesn't mean we can afford 8, but I wanna know if we can fit in 8, and then we can always scale back if the money isn't there. So we are planning. Not to combine them, but to keep them separate, sort of with a walkway in between. Or viewing area, depending on how you
Sure.
look at it, but 4 would be up on the hill. 4 down where there already are 4, Obviously, if we decide to go with those four on the hill, we have to talk to the high school,
Mhm.
and other user groups, because we would be losing that grassy area.
With that, just a kind of side note, I know that we have a new athletic director.
Mhm.
If we could invite him and the new assistant director too, just to a meeting, not anytime soon, but just as a kind of meet and greet type of thing, I would think would be nice because we'll be working with them on a bunch of, projects, especially ones like this. So if we can invite them just to kind of have an introductory, I would like that.
I met with them both last week.
Mhm.
We went over fall schedule already. I have access to a lot of information. He's
Good.
been great. His assistant's great. Actually, his assistant came down to the pool with his son and hung out at the
That's
pool
great.
last week. So I feel really positive about those two and good moving forward. He's also reached out a few times, like, remind me again, is it you that books the gyms or? So we've already
No.
been in like conversation. I was like, no, that's so and so. So,
And what are their names?
Ryan Men is the director, and the assistant director's name is escaping me.
Some post, I can't remember either.
Yeah, I actually
Rich
read about
Card, his name is Rich Card Verrier.
Thank you,
Okay,
Rich Carver. And what I can tell you is they have, known each other since they were 8.
oh, boy,
They both grew up in Milton, so. They are
Milton.
built
That's right.
together, crew, yep.
oh, wow.
Good group. And then for the active rec group, no new updates. I need to push DPW on that, but we've been working on some of the other projects, so we're gonna move forward as soon as possible. Financial aid requests, we're up to 178 requests for the season. These numbers are rough, they're not specific, but overall, Rachel ran the numbers and it's 71K for pool memberships and about 17K for camps and programs. That is not including ESY or summer bridges. Those are the 2 school programs we work with. So that is not part of this number.
Okay,
And then at the pool, we're happy through the season, swim lessons, clinics, swim team are all running smoothly. We've had, some staff things come up here and there. That's.
Typical.
We've worked out. Camps, same thing, everything's running pretty smoothly. We've had a few things pop up, but nothing
Mhm.
giant. And the family fun Thursdays are a big hit. We even have some lifeguard staff that come in when they're not scheduled to work, just to hang out and play.
The swim team is also for.
I was gonna ask, yeah, they had a pretty good run last year.
Yep, they're doing well.
Katie Curtin,
Who is also now the new varsity swim coach.
I did not know that, congratulations to her.
And then just as a backup, the financial updates overall and the swim lesson numbers are in your packet as well. I think emailed those on the update on Friday.
Back to that. All right, any questions in regards to the director's report, follow-up requests or anything like that?
Oh, staffing that I didn't put in there because summer staffing is all set, but just to make sure all of you saw in my Friday update.
Mhm.
Kim Holmes
Yes.
has resigned
Oh.
from her position. She will be coming back. Yep, she's been here a while and but prior to working full-time, she worked at our programs for many, many.
Right, now, it's just been around. Seems to me forever.
Yep.
Even though she's still so young.
Yeah, and basically she's has a new baby. So
Yeah.
now she has
Two young, yeah, 2 young ones, yeah.
The commute is significant to have kids that young. So she's gonna look for some rentals.
We wish her the best of luck.
So you're back in the job. Hunt, right? Back in the-
I'm not doing that until fall.
Good.
We've got a lot of interns and summer staff around to help us.
Still that.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to see her go, but
Yeah.
I wish you the best.
All right, nothing else in regards to the director's report. All right, I'm going to jump around here a little bit for the next thing in regards to discussion items. I know we have one of our members that actually is a little under the weather and she is making it through this year, so I'm gonna jump to discussion items in regards to CPC. We talked about this, I talked about this with Dina, I've also talked about this with Jim, is that we are going to make a switch of who our representative is for the CPC. So the new liaison is going to be Jim. Dina, we appreciate all the time that you put in for CPC, and I know it's some meetings are longer than others, and it's a lot that you're trying to get in there, but I appreciate all the time that you did put in for that, but I understand of the move. I just want to, again, thank you for that. And so what we will do is, I guess, we now nominate Jim as the new representative liaison for CPC for Park and Rec. So I will actually make the nomination. Do I hear a
I
second?
will second that.
All right, I have second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, I will take a roll call vote. Just go through. So I will go Michelle Geddes,
Aye.
Dina Hannigan,
Aye.
Cindy Chaston.
Aye.
The chair is also aye for unanimous, and you will abstain because you can vote for yourself, but let's just make it easy on this. We'll do these for us. So congratulations, Jim. Again, thank you, Dina, for all the time. What we will ask you to do in the next week or so, if you can go down to Teddy Eaton's office and get sworn in as the new liaison for the Park and Rec.
That's the office.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. What we will do, we will send her an email to let her know that you're coming, and just whatever schedule works for her. I think what does it take, a few minutes to get sworn in? at the
Yeah, it's
most?
like 3
So,
minutes.
And we'll just do that, and then what we'll do is we'll alert the CPC board of the switch, so they're aware of it, so Tina will stop getting the communications and we'll start getting the communications.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
Thank you.
Chris, I actually got a text from Cecilia today saying that I
Sure.
needed to or Celia saying that I needed to send an write up a resignation to Teddy.
Right, because it's usually a
Okay.
3-year term is what it is, so you just, yeah,
Okay.
just. And include me in on it, and what we'll do is that we'll just, it's a paper trail that we have to, have.
Do I have
Show
to
that
say,
you're
I
coming
don't have
off.
to say why or anything. I just say that I
Nope.
resigned from CPC.
Exactly.
It doesn't look bad or on, Okay,
People do
okay.
it all the time.
okay,
I
okay,
wish I could have done it, sorry.
all right. And
right,
I'm
Dina.
going to say goodnight. Yes, I've got a massive tooth and gum infection. I'm not feeling well, guys.
Feel better.
Feel better, okay?
Thank you. I'll see you
Thanks,
guys next time.
All right,
Thank you. Bye.
bye. All right, now going back to the top of the discussion items, Exchange Club. I'm gonna hand this over to Commissioner Chaston.
So we in the Exchange Club have been struggling to put a plaque on the shade structure at Green's Field. And we can't figure out how to put one on there. We don't have that kind of expertise in the club, so we thought we could just get a plaque and tack it up there, screw it on it, but it's
not
that
easy.
material that we don't, and so we are looking for help. Latest suggestion came from our past president, Paul Dealey, who talked about a stake in the ground, which I think was a good idea, or a small kids playground. And he talked about a rock with a plaque on it, which wouldn't be my choice, and I think it's expensive, but we need some help. Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, we work with a few different sign companies that work with specifically putting signage on shelters.
Okay,
So Hannah and I can dig into that and find a couple options for you and send it to.
yeah, you send it to me, I'll give it to the people in the club. We would expect obviously that we would pay for it. We donated that shade truck to the town, I think in 2013, when that playground was done. And at that time, there was a person in the club who still and promised me he would get us a plaque.
Mhm.
You know who that is, right?
Yes,
But he hasn't done that, so a group of us has said, gee, we really ought to do it now that it's been 10 years.
Yep.
And I think the structure is still in very good shape.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
And I don't know where we can put it, but we would like to say, donate it to the town of Beaver.
We can take a look at it, we can find it, and then whether or not you purchase it directly from them, or we purchase it and then you donate the money to us, we can figure that
I
out.
would probably love that.
Yeah,
yes.
it's
Yeah.
usually a cleaner way. to
Checks
do
it
it.
out.
So,
Yes.
and then we can figure out, like, what the cost would be to install it.
Okay, I mean, we did at one point, somebody said, oh, we can get something, we can just nail that in, but of course. That material is, whatever it is, it's,
You can't now.
right, and it's on probably around wood or something, so,
Yep.
okay, that'd be great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No problem.
Okay. Commission policies. I know our director kind of touched on this in the beginning.
Yeah, so we've had a few people talk about They didn't purchase a pass in the beginning and now they're wondering if it's possible, like, because they're coming more often than they thought they would, to have a prorated pass. For half the season. I've talked about it with some of the staff downstairs, just like, what do you think? I don't have an exact number, but I was thinking if the commission was amenable to it, maybe doing like an August pass. A prorated just for August, so beginning August 1st through the end of the season. Knowing that also the hours could start to dwindle depending on the number of staff, so. I can understand why somebody, if they wanted to buy a pass now, wouldn't want to pay full price, knowing that the numbers are going to dwindle, but. I said actually don't have that authority, I'll bring it to the commission and see how they feel about it. I don't, like I said, I didn't really come up with a number, but it's, we can run the numbers and see what makes sense, but I just wanted to give it to you guys.
Might it not discourage people from getting full passes? Maybe at this point, they should just pay when they come. I mean, I just wonder.
Yeah, no, I hear you, I hear you on that one. Let's go around the room. Cindy,
So what we used to do, and I think maybe we still do it, is if people came and bought day passes and they bought a certain number of them, at some point we put it towards a season pass, but
Yeah.
towards a season admission. Do we do that anymore?
We've stopped doing that
Okay.
because. People tend to push at the booth staff downstairs to do that, who do not have the authority to do that. And it becomes cumbersome because they don't always keep their receipts, or it's not always tied to their membership.
Oh, you don't have to convince me. I always thought it sounded like a nightmare.
So last year, I was like, we are never doing this again because it's an absolute nightmare. So we stopped doing that.
okay,
So I kind of agree with fellow commissioner that it may discourage people from buying
Right.
pass later in the season. That being said, I don't want to shut anybody out from coming.
But they can,
They can come in the day.
Okay.
It's still coming, we still have daily fees, we still have daily rates.
Prorated because you're not, I don't think you're exactly sure on an end date. I know we say an end date, but then if we can
We are-
stretch it, you are sure, you're not gonna stretch it.
It's August 27th or 26th, whatever that Sunday is. It's
Um,
the Sunday before school's open.
okay,
Oh, that's later than I thought. I thought
It's
it-
later than it's been in the past, but we knew from the beginning, because we got some end dates, that we would be able to go that late.
Well, I don't think I would object to a proration. I don't think I would do an exact proration. I think the people who bought early, they're our loyal patrons, and I wouldn't want them to see them not get the benefit of that. So,
No,
But-
it wouldn't be exact, it would still be. It would be less, but I wouldn't. Go to the exact number of days versus
right,
what's left.
I think I could be persuaded. I don't love it. But I do kind of feel like, as Jim said, that it might push people to not buy a pass.
Well, we do have the daily rates and we do have reduced rates after 5:30 on the weekdays and I think 4 on the weekend. So the last 2 hours,
Yeah.
it is a lower rate.
Jim, any follow-up?
just, I have I have no idea, but I'm just thinking intuitively that it might discourage people from getting the passes early, but, we go away for a couple of weeks in July and,
All right. Michelle,
Yeah, what are other surrounding towns doing? Do they have something similar?
I haven't done any digging into that. I can reach out to some of the bigger ones like Weston. I know that none of the ponds do it because they're struggling to get staff anyway, so they're not. They're in a different boat than we're at, but I can reach out to like Norwood, Weston and Newton and see what they're doing.
Okay.
If they
I
have
think-
that.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see. And I think, private pools wouldn't grant that. So, something to keep in mind. So if you're kind of looking at other options that people may have, that's something that would not be provided with a private pool. And then, if we are going down that route, I do think, to Jim's point, there's people that know ahead of time that they're not going to be around in July, but they are in August. So if we go down that route, is that something that we'd want to provide up front to say, oh, we have a pool, we have a season's pass and it's X amount, and then we have a pass that starts August 1st and it's 75% of the cost, right? It's slightly prorated, so it's slightly less. It might encourage people to sign up and kind of knowing that they can't commit to the full pool season. I quite honestly, I don't love the idea of prorating at all, but if we're gonna go down that route, we might wanna look at how we could be kind of more proactive or offer it earlier on in the season if we do feel comfortable going down that path.
Perfect. Stacy.
I don't have any stake in the game either way, but I also know that there's a lot of people that go away for August. So are we gonna get requests prorate in the other direction because
Oh,
I'm
no,
going
we
away?
don't.
for
Good point.
August?
Very good point. Yep.
And the other point I have is if we're gonna prorate for the pool, I know a lot of towns that prorate for the fall season for court pass. So,
Okay, so, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please go right ahead.
And I don't think I'm in favor at all. I'm not in favor at all. I think it's too complicated, and I would rather do something, if we need to do something to encourage membership or find passes, I would do it on the front end on the early bird specials.
Mhm.
If you like ski passes, right, where the ski areas offer a great discount early, and as the season gets closer, the discount becomes less, and then you're full price. And I would rather we did that to reward those people, or to show those people who sign up early that we appreciate their
Mhm.
patronage. And I
and
guess,
we used to have that, we've gone away from it since COVID, but I think we should bring it back.
yeah, I mean, I just think that is a show of good faith to the people who sign up on their part and on our part. So I think I would rather do that
It's a good idea.
than a flow rated. And then if August rains and, you know, I mean, just it's,
Yeah, I
You're right,
bought the
just-
pass, but it rained for 7 days.
right. It's-
No, I agree. I think that I agree with that approach.
No, I agree too, like with going around the room, that's why I like hearing about things, because at first I was like, yeah, I was kind of for this, but Michelle, you brought up a great point, and so did you, Stacy. I didn't even think about going the other direction. Hey, if I'm gonna be early, I want the early rate, or if I go late and other programs. The only thing I would ask would be is I'd love to see if we're gonna make up a number, like what that number is. And just see kind of where it is, and if it's close enough to, well, if you bought a day pass every single day, is it comparable to having this half price or whatever the discount is? So however math you want to work it to see, hey, this is what I think the price should be. We can compare it to getting a day pass or this or that, so. Not completely out, but again, I'd like to see some of the numbers. Okay. Other policies, I know, like you brought up the one of, I think we're gonna give you discretion in regards to policies that kind of pop up out of nowhere. That with you being here, it is kind of silly to be like, oh, well, I gotta get on a Zoom conference or send out an email. That I would think we're gonna give the discretion to the director and the assistant director, that if a policy needs to kind of be adapted or added because it's something we never really thought about, we're gonna kind of give you the authorization to do that. If it's anything major, then yes, I would expect the commission to be brought in on it, but anything that has to kind of go with the daily activities of running either a camp or the pool, the discretion is in the hands of two of you and the staff.
Through the process of this weekend and having conversations with the public about certain policies, we don't have any policies written and approved, other than the ones that are required by law. Regulations for the pool, so those are listed everywhere. However, there are some policies we have, like no running, no diving in this area, no, piggyback rides, things that a lot of pools have, but we don't have anything. So what I'd like to do is take this year, and maybe in the fall, come up with a pool safety policy and have those things run by you folks and then potentially voted on, so we can post them on. And also have that also discretion at the bottom that says, like, if anything else comes up, the pool, the park and rec
Immediately
director.
falls in the pool, so you have
Yes.
the discretion for.
Yes, so we have the ability to work with that, but
It could protect us from any sort of liability thing, having rules.
If you don't.
they're already on. They're
Sure.
scheduled to go on.
Okay,
They're just scheduled at dusk,
got it. Okay,
so
thank you.
if they don't want.
I will. Anything else in regards to the kind of commission policies? Anybody? Okay, good. The trail steward program, meetings. I think that's handled, right?
Any type of update,
No
it's
update.
still,
Okay,
the form that we created, that if anyone's interested in being part of that group, they can join.
okay.
That hasn't been formally published yet.
You know, we got a Google poll or something asking us for dates for meetings, but then we never hear back, so we get like 6 from Clay. So then I'll give like 6 days, and then by the time it feels like he's gonna get back to me, either the passport, like I don't keep all of those on my calendar.
Yeah.
Right? Do you, if you give
I
like,
do.
I'm available for
I do.
these?
Well,
I mean,
a lot of
there's-
them are like times like this, so it's a little hard to.
Right, or there are lots of 5 o'clock, but I mean, he gives you like 10 different days, and I'm like, oh, these look good at the time, and then when it gets close, well,
Yeah.
surprisingly, they have filled in, so. I'm not sure that, I mean, I don't even criticize, I don't even know him, but it doesn't seem like it's timely from when he asks if you're available.
Okay.
Because we still haven't heard back, right, on the last one I filled out, and.
No, because I didn't go too, I haven't heard them yet. We can
And-
follow up them and try and come up with a better.
But I'm not free, Apple was free.
Earlier, yeah,
Right?
okay. Capital projects, you kind of went over that in the director's report. Like I said, the only thing is that if you can get that timeline scheduled, that would be
Yep.
great.
Like I said, I'm gonna follow up with them tomorrow and
Okay.
ask them, because they did say they were gonna send it, but.
No, I hear it. CPC, we kind of went through that, no real big update, but you did bring up in regards to the difference in cost that the town is still committing to CPC and what the number was, so. Playgrounds facilities,
We still have our weekly meeting with the schools, we're actually meeting with. Anne Hulati.
Oh, yeah.
So she's meeting with us to talk about some of the school playgrounds and what we can move forward. They are interested in doing some capital projects.
She's the finance person.
Yes.
yeah,
So they're interested in some capital projects. I gave them some real round numbers about like what a ported place at Newman might cost. So they're like, oh, okay, so they wanna talk. About that in the future. And I said, great, but we've been working with them, you know, on taking care of little things at Elliott and Broadmeadow and Mitchell and try to take care of the low hanging fruit. But we're gonna work with them pretty consistently throughout the year, because they are, financing something,
good,
which has been very helpful.
sweet. Following up on playgrounds and facilities, I know it's kind of a slower time of the year for the fields. How is Woo doing? Any issues popping up, just regular everyday type of educating the public of what it is, but nothing really that's,
So Woo's doing great. He has a lot of energy and he's always happy, and I don't know how that happens, but he is great. I don't know where it comes from. He's great. His biggest frustration is we're doing a pilot program at Greens where we pulled all of the barrels except for the big belly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until that, he had put in a barrel on wheels inside Greens that had saved a lot of his work.
okay,
That had helped, but we pulled it as part of this. It's a collective decision. He is frustrated. I get it. And I'm gonna keep an eye on, he's sending me pictures sort of on a daily or by, you know, every other day basis of like what Greens, the playground proper, not the field,
Mhm.
but the playground proper looks like. And so if it becomes a hassle and you spending too much time there, I'm gonna push DBW to put that one barrel back in.
So he's actually picking up the trash.
The problem with that is what he used to do is take that barrel and dump it in the blue and reds.
Right.
okay,
But now there's nothing to dump it into, so now we just have a barrel, we don't have anything to play. So
So
we're
that's-
trying to, that's a little bit of a kink that we're trying to figure out. But other than that, he's doing great.
okay.
I don't know if you've all heard, but Kevin Naughton has moved on.
No.
Yep, he has a position in Melrose where he lives. So his last day was Friday. That was Eddie's.
Right, yeah, man.
He's been here a while.
He's been here a very
Yes.
long time, but I think he also had the opportunity to take a position closer to home and. So
Wow.
Eddie is now short staffed,
Cool, cool.
as,
Yeah.
but I think that position is getting ready to be posted.
Okay,
And so I think there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of internal interest, and then I'm sure there'll be a lot of external interest. We had a lot of interest from park rangers, so I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a lot of interest for this as well.
okay.
So Wu is around 4th of July festivities, he is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
And
I know.
Did he light the fireworks off himself?
Everybody, he gets from place to everywhere, and he is, you're right, so happy and so friendly and outgoing, and I can't imagine anybody would just love him.
I know.
And then we did the field of flags, over in front of the real white school at
Yep.
Central Ave, and he came the day we were taking the flags out, helped us take the flags out, and just generally there, what do you need me to do, and so.
He's like Tigger, he's just,
Yeah, he's
Everywhere.
so friendly and
Yeah.
so helpful, so. I would not want to make his life more difficult because it's just so nice to have him.
One other thing in regards to playground facilities, Perry Park, we had the issue with the porta potty. Did we take it out? And, okay, so it is gone, okay.
it's been removed, but when it goes back in the fall, we will hear from our friendly neighbor, I'm sure. So we should just be prepared for that.
Is there another place, we talked about trying to move it over to the.
I discussed that with him and he did not like that response. He doesn't want it no matter what. There hasn't one been there for a very long time. He doesn't understand why there should be one there. Said, well, the commission will be putting it back in the fall, and if you have any suggestions for a better place, I'd love to hear it.
The sports groups have any comments? I mean, it's little kids in there, right? But like,
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
sports groups appreciate it.
they appreciate it.
One other thing I want to follow up on, Hannah, I know that you had mentioned we were gonna send out a Google form or poll for the user groups that did the car wash.
Yeah, so when we looked at how many people had actually completed a car wash, it was like 5 people, so
Okay.
maybe we just do a phone survey.
Sure.
And actually talk to them
Okay.
directly, but we just haven't formulated the questions yet.
That's fine. Great. All right, anything else in regards to discussion items? All right, special event approvals of policy. We'll see.
There is a couple on there that just FYI, you don't necessarily have to approve them. I did pull some, but I didn't get all of them. The big one is the harvest fair.
Scrolling down now.
And they want to stay at Greens, or is that what they'll be from now on?
Yes, people loved it. The staff that I had sent there thought it was like, there's no better place. We should definitely have it here. Farmers market also loved it. So I think it's slam dunk.
Great.
Can it be kept up maintenance wise? Like Eddie and his crew? Okay,
Yep, we talked to Eddie, he's like. No, it really is a big place. So
oh my
we'll
God.
just get ahead of it, we'll talk to, so far the farmers market hasn't been any issue, so
Okay.
that's been great.
Do you need,
Yeah,
do you
Gina's-
have to approve the harvesting in this?
Okay,
I'd be happy to make a motion, Mr. Chair, if you're ready.
go right ahead, please.
Make a motion that we approve the Needham Harvest Fair run by the Child River Chamber. For the date of 10/1/23 at Greensfield.
Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
There you go. Perfect, all right, I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Needham Harvest Fair, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
No, has to be roll call vote because Michelle's on Zoom. Michelle Geddes,
Aye.
James.
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
The chair is also an aye, passes unanimously. All right, next up is the back to school picnic event at Sunita Williams. Is this more of a, more of an FYI, so you do not need approval for that one? My personal favorite, the trunk or treat at Broad Meadow Elementary PTC.
This is just, I'm bringing it to you because it's another trunk or treat at a different school.
Okay,
So we had one,
It runs from.
I think that's set up and breakdown,
Oh, okay,
because once you get the cars in, then
yeah,
they're stuck, like, and you don't want the kids walking around while.
That's the day.
well, they're not taking away from us.
Just because I started doing that.
I also don't think they're going 10 PM to 5 PM, that's a very long time.
Yeah.
I can reach out to them and see if,
Well, they have an additional date of the 22nd,
yeah,
so see if that works.
that's what we can do, but it's not something you would typically approve, it's just because it's
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
What was the overlap?
our spooky walk.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, so you don't need an approval. Okay. Next up, the SWES Fun Run.
City of Williams.
City of Williams. Okay,
Even I knew that one.
sure. She's thanks, Cindy.
This one again is PTC, but it is a larger pool of people, so we just wanted to give you guys a heads up.
Okay,
It doesn't really affect anything it's needed, doesn't,
it's self-contained.
Slam dunk, but pretty self-contained, but again, it's not new, it's just a larger group of people. No, normally the PT events are around 100, this can pull in about 250.
Wow.
Depending on the registrations and the day and the weather.
Alrighty.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question? In late September, the LA Bloom Olympics happened, I believe we have
We have
already.
Yep.
But as I recall, last year, there was an issue that other events were run at the same time. I think it was Michelle that pointed out, and maybe it was track that was there, and it was.
It was the youth organization, the user group, so we're blocking off the entire day at DeFazio. We're not allowing any other, like, there will be no permits that day. For however long they need, we may open it up like at 5 PM, because they're usually done around 2.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they
Set up.
So I'll give some buffer in between,
Okay.
but we'll definitely shut down all of the groups that day.
Okay, and they will be reminded, because I think the issue was
Yeah.
that some groups just didn't realize.
They'll be reminded and they'll be emailed frequently, because Ed and I have talked about this
Mhm.
quite a bit to make sure that everybody knows, and a week out and a few days out, just to make sure, and we will be there, so if there's any issues, we can make sure that he's on it.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yep.
Perfect. No, thank you for bringing that up. All right, all the special events are in policy approvals, nothing to approve. Fee approvals, no fee approval yet, but I do kind of want to, I'll say warn everybody, but in the next coming meetings, I know we discussed that we are going to raise the pricing of our field user fees for the 2024 season. That a lot of sports are going to start opening up their spring registration in the fall. So I want to say that we're going to have a meeting, we're going to kind of go over what we're going to do to increase these fees. Now, the fees aren't just because we're just taking a price increase because we want to, it's because we can put maintenance and other things that we have had costs go up to make sure that we have our fields and our facilities and things like that. Putting bathrooms at the fields, things like that, having duty cops at DeFazio sometimes. Those are things that they cost, and if people want to have these, they gotta pay to play type of thing. So in probably, for the August meeting, either the 14th or the 28th, we're gonna have a lengthy discussion of what we should do. Is it a percentage? Is it a dollar figure of what it is? But we're gonna start working that out so we can let the user groups know going into spring, there is going to be a cost increase. Okay.
And sorry, just to clarify, the cost increase is going to be for the winter season. It's only going to be starting in 2024, not for the fall season.
Correct.
Correct. Yes, we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
this.
Start January.
So it'll be like
which is what we
most of
told
them will be
everybody ahead of
spring.
time.
Yep.
Exactly.
And what will we have in advance, just to review, like what the current user
Yeah.
fees are, what the percentage is, like what the cost is coming in for each team? Just wondering what we're gonna have in order
Yeah,
to
so what
kind of
we'll
help
do is we'll
inform.
create. Yeah, that's a good idea. What we'll do is create a document that basically has the current fee schedules, some of our proposals. Some of what other towns near us are doing. And some overall, like what are costs that are going up significantly, like off the top of my head, grass seed is like tripled. So all the seeding procedures that we do out there has significantly increased. What porta potties cost? What a potential traffic cop down at DeFazio would, so we can start to factor in what are the actual costs of running these fields.
Mhm.
Great.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
And I'll send that out before the meeting,
Yes.
like a good amount, so that if you're like, I also wanna know this, can you find out this information? If there's stuff that we didn't think about that you're like, well, what about this? Then we'll have some time to play catch up before we actually meet.
Got it.
Can I ask just one related question, which I think can be related, but The storage units, is that just, are we not even considering those anymore? Okay, just because of the prohibitive cost of them? Okay,
Storage units.
We have storage units down at Fazio. And somebody came to us about potentially leasing them out, but it was the FinCom and the liability, finance department, sorry. Dave Davison and the liability were a bigger concern than trying to make that work.
So it was user groups.
If it comes up again, we can revisit it, but it's also just kind of died down.
Track, for example, so they don't have a place to
Yeah.
store it.
Mhm.
So they were looking for inside storage that was down there. We thought it could help them, but it didn't seem to pan out.
Okay, any other questions? All right, now I'm gonna move to the meeting minutes from our previous meeting, which was June 26th. Wow. We have a full, it's fantastic. All right, I take it everyone went over the minutes. Derek, fantastic job.
Thank you, Derek. Make a motion, we approve the minutes of the June 26, 2023 meeting.
All right, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll go to a roll call vote. Michelle Geddes,
aye.
Jim Rosenbaum,
Aye.
Cindy Chaston.
Aye.
The chair is also an aye, so the meeting minutes passed unanimously. At the top. Issues not reasonably anticipated by the chair within 48 hours. I can't think of any right now that I didn't bring up throughout the meeting. Topics for future meetings. I know we put on for the athletic director and the assistant director. Might as well even, how about at the end of the fall season, have Wu come in for like an end of, like a year report of, hey, this is what we saw, this is what I like, summer was this, spring was that, fall was that, because that will be the first real 3 seasons that we have them for. So it doesn't have to be anything major, but just to kind of recap of things that we can work on for the next season.
Sure.
All right, next meetings here, August 14th. Everyone good for that one?
I believe
Someone,
I will be away.
okay,
I believe I can attend by Zoom. I'll let you know before then, but
okay,
it should be okay if you need that for a forum.
perfect. The 28th of August. So right now, everything's looking pretty good. And this is where we run into September, that we don't have to kind of dive into this now, but we have 2 holidays on the days that we were supposed to meet. That out of respect wise, I don't think we've ever met on those days, but,
For 9/11, it's her fallen.
right.
Or at least it's.
So, as of right now, I would say the September 11th meeting is still on.
I wouldn't, the 25th, I wouldn't,
Okay.
for the holidays.
No, we don't.
No, yeah, no, we get it. Oh, no.
I just started.
No, don't worry. So we will stay on track for the Monday, September 11th meeting, but the 25th, we will, as of right now, either plan an alternate date, but we will not be meeting on the 25th.
Thank you.
All right. Any other further comments, questions? Things we forgot about, want to bring back up before we adjourn?
Just a reminder, next, well, August 4th is our last Arts in the Park for this season.
Okay. How's that program been going?
Good, I had fun at the first one.
Did you get a reasonable attendance? Was it?
There was about like 20-25 people there, so good for the weather, I think, and
Yeah.
off a little bit, which was nice. Some of my staff followed me up from Rosemary was there, so they got started. Yeah.
Oh, one last thing I want to bring up. I do want to commend the Exchange Club for putting on yet another fantastic 3rd of July spectacular fireworks display. I know they were kind of battling the elements of when to do it, but I thought it went off great. I loved the show. The parade was just as good, even though it rained, but you do the best you can
It
with
didn't
it.
rain until it was 10 minutes from the end. The last people were 10 minutes from finishing, right? It started to sprinkle. It was okay.
But no, I want to commend the Exchange Club. They've always done a great job and they kept it up again this year.
Thank you.
So. All right, anything else? All right, after hearing that, I guess I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Nice. Roll call vote, Michelle Geddes,
Aye.
James Rosenbaum,
Aye.
Cindy Chaston.
Aye.
The chair is also an aye. Meeting is adjourned.